Hi, first grade. This video is for April 1st, Wednesday. We're going to continue with our work on fractions. A quick review before we continue from our Monday video. What's the whole? Always need to be thinking and recognizing what the whole is when we're talking about parts of that whole or fractions of that whole. We always need to make sure that what we're doing is a fair share when we split things. And we talked about naming our fractions. The fractions that we are concerned with in first grade include halves, when we split something into two equal parts. Okay, there's an example. Thirds, if we've split something into three equal parts, like that one. Or fourths, if we've split something into four equal parts. If this sounds new, or if you didn't watch the video on Monday about these things, stop the video now, go back and watch that video from Monday, and then come back here. Now, on Monday, we worked on splitting objects or things into equal parts. We practiced with strips of paper. That was 1/4. This one was 1/2. That one was 1/3. We talked about examples including brownies and pizza. Okay, so these are examples of us taking one thing and cutting it or splitting it into equal parts. But we can also use fractions to describe parts of a group or parts of a set. Let me show you an example. I have 12 pennies here. So this is my group. I have a group of pennies. We also call this a set when we're working in fractions. So using what we already know about fractions, we can start to split this group into equal parts. So if I was going to split this group of pennies into halves, remember halves means two equal parts. Now I need to take this group of pennies and split it into two equal parts. So I'll have one part here, one part there, 2, 3 in each, 4 in each, 5 in each, 6 in each. So now I have 6 pennies in each part. I've split it into two parts and they are equal. So I've split this set, this group of pennies, in half. So this would be 1/2, this would be the other half. Before I continue, pause the video now and go find something in your house that you can use to practice this. I just grabbed a handful of pennies. You could use beans, you could use peanuts, you could use little candies, whatever you're allowed to use. Go get some of those. You're only going to need, let's say, 24 of them. And if you can only get 18, that's fine too, okay? Pause the video, go ahead and get your materials. All right. Now that we're back, I'm going to put my 12 pennies back in the set. Grab your 12 of your items and put them in a set in front of you. So we just split this set in half by splitting it into two equal parts. Now let's split this set into fourths. So remember what fourths means. Fourths means that we're splitting it into four equal parts. You can pause the video and go ahead and split your set into fourths. All right, here we are. Since we're splitting it into fourths, we need to split it into four equal parts. I'll start one part over here. I'll start one there, another one there, another one there. Okay, so those are my four parts. I'm just going to pass these out until I've passed them out into all four parts. Okay, so I've split this into four parts, right? Okay. Do you notice something that I've done wrong? Yes, you notice. These are not all equal parts. And for these, when we're talking about fractions, we need to remember the fair share. This part over here has an extra penny. I'm going to move it there. Now as I look, I see it's split into four parts, and each part has 3 pennies in it, so they're equal. So we've split this set of pennies into fourths now. Okay, this is 1/4. That's another fourth. This is 1/4, and that's 1/4. Okay, let's go ahead and put our 12 pennies back together. Now, I want you to pause the video and split your set into thirds. Go ahead. And you're back. When we're splitting it into thirds, remember, we need to make sure that we're splitting it into 3 equal parts. I'll do one part there, one part there, one part here, and then I'm just going to pass them out to those parts until we have split this set into 3 equal parts. First, let's make sure that we split it into 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Now let's look and make sure that they're all equal. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a fair share. So we have split this into thirds. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you some time. Well, what I want you to do next is I'm going to give you some numbers, and for each of those numbers, I want you to make a set of that number. So, for example, we just worked with the number 12 because we started with 12. We broke it into halves, thirds, and fourths, okay? So you're not going to do a set of 12 anymore. I'm going to give you some other numbers that you'll use for your sets. Okay, here's your assignment for what you should practice on now. So as I said, we worked with a set of 12. You're going to next work with a set of 6. Then when you're done with that, do a set of 9, then a set of 10, a set of 18, and then a set of 21, and then a set of 24. And I want you, with each set, to break it into halves, thirds, and fourths. Now, before I let you go, we're going to do one of these together, okay? We're going to do 6. Why don't we just do 6 together? We'll do this one right now, okay? So grab your 6 items to make your set. I'll make sure I have 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pennies out. First, I need to split it into halves. Remember, halves is 2 equal groups. Okay, there we go. I split it into halves. 3 and 3. I check to make sure that they're equal groups. It's a fair share, and that I have 2 groups. Let's put it together. Now I'm going to split it into thirds. Okay, so that's 3 equal groups. 1, 2, 3. Got 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups, and I go back to make sure it's a fair share. I have split this set into thirds. Now let's split it into fourths. Now remember, fourths is 4 equal parts. So I have 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. But now I'm running into a problem here. I can't, there's no way for me to make 4 equal parts out of 6 pennies. So for some of these sets, you will have 1 or 2 of the fractions that you'll be able to make, and maybe you won't be able to make the third fraction, okay? Or some of them you'll be able to make all 3. All right, so just notice which combinations you're able to do and which ones you're not. So again, take each set, break it into halves, thirds, and fourths, and just practice that, okay? When you're done with that, you can spend a little bit more time on IXL, on the fractions activities if you haven't done those. If you've already finished those, you don't need to go back and do them again. You can always have some practice on ST Math. Great job, first grade. Get some practice with this, and we'll see you for another fractions video on Friday.